familiarity, simplicity, mapping, motivation, trust, and visibility.
Yes.
What is there one of those that you guys think not just, it's just looking at the timer. What is the most important variable there? I had that it was efficiency.
That was me too.
And I didn't have any others weighted as high as I did efficiency.
See, I had visibility and familiarity weighted a little bit higher, but I think it was because I put it in the situation. Because you kind of need the visibility and the familiarity in order to really use it, but I don't know.
I had
no, go ahead.
Oh, no. Sorry. I thought you were done. Keep talking.
No. I took out motivation. I felt like that didn't have any influence on our timer, because it's, you're going to be motivated whether you're going to use, no matter what the interface looks like, you're going to have to use it. So I kind of took motivation out and then gave efficiency like a 30% weight. I gave visibility and familiarity like a 20% weight equally. I gave mapping like a 15, and then learnability, simplicity, and trust were all like 5. But my weights can't be right because I got like 1.05 for my overall score, and I think it's supposed to be under 1.
Well, that might just be a math thing.
Yeah. I thought that visibility was a high issue too, because I don't know, I guess when we talked and we met, I was thinking about how we talked about how I don't know, maybe I was just thinking about like maybe I was being confused when I was doing this last night, because I was thinking about like I guess maybe that's just the mapping. They're not being a reset button. So I don't know, maybe I was thinking of it in the situation too. So maybe I need to, maybe I'm having a hard time breaking out from that.
See, and I had visibility and learnability as my top, because familiarity to me was how familiar they are with the product. It shouldn't matter if they're familiar with this product with different versions of a timer or not. That was like my third tier, but in my second tier, I felt like it needed to be quick and easy to learn how to use it, and the visibility needed to be right. So I had efficiency as my top tier with 30%, visibility and learnability with 20% each. And then mapping and familiarity were sort of my next tier. And then under that was motivation and trust. And I put nothing for simplicity. I didn't think
I wondered about simplicity. But I was going to take that one out first. And then my husband talked to me and he's like, well, maybe simplicity is still kind of in there because they could do a little bit to, fix it up simplicity-wise on what they need to know. I don't know. So I took motivation out.
And I took trust out. So
see, and for me, trust is only 0.05. It's tiny.
Yeah, I took trust out just because I thought, like, I don't feel like if I go to any sort of timer that I need to have any trust. I mean, I just am going to trust that the timer is going to do what I want it to do.
See, and that does require trust, though. It requires a trust that it is going to work and it is going to perform as you expect it to. Because a timer really does require trust. Because usually, like, you're timing your cooking, you're timing your. You have to have some trust in it. That is a layer.
That's true. I didn't think about that part.
But with simplicity, to me, that was like there should be no complexity to a timer. It should not require any special learning, any special training, nothing like that to learn how to use this timer. So that's why I took simplicity out.
I can see that. Because that was my first initial thought with simplicity too. So
yeah, that makes sense.
And I can get behind your visibility and learnability, because really familiarity won't be an issue if visibility and learnability are there.
Yeah.
You kind of have to see it in that kind of tier that, the efficiency is high because it doesn't really, you have to be efficient if you're going to get this done. Visibility and learnability, you have to be able to learn how to do it, and you have to be able to have everything visual in order to do it correctly before you can get down to your familiarity and your mapping, and then your trust and motivation. I could see that.
So are we okay? I mean, because I can copy and paste the one that I did, and so for step 1, we just have to write out, okay, this is our top tier and maybe a sentence why. This is our next tier and maybe a sentence why. Mm-hmm. And, you know, this is what was left and we broke it up this way.
Yeah. I've got a little paragraph thing I could paste in there if you want to kind of, I mean, I don't know, because it's like a little paragraph that highlights, okay, motivation and efficiency and the weight, but it's not, it just uses our rationalizations from the last assignment where, you know, motivation, there was no issues with it. So, I mean, it may not be what we need.
But see, that's not what we need for step 1, because that's situational.
Exactly.
We need to pull it out of the situation. So we're writing something new for step 1. And I didn't want to take the time to write all of that out until we agreed with where our weights need to be. Hold on 2 seconds. That's the cemetery calling me back.
You're fine.
Hello? Yes.
Okay, so who was it that had the correct weights that we agreed with?
On that one?
Yeah, was that Brittany?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure. I'm trying to get voices down again.
Sorry. I haven't said anything, so.
You're fine.
Yeah, it's Brittany.
Okay. Well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take out, because this was what we had last week. Maybe I'll just take this out.
So I didn't read, I mean, I guess I didn't read it correctly, but are we supposed to write something up like those little charts just wouldn't work? And where we kind of.
I'm confused about when she's saying that step 1, where does it say that?
I was trying to go back and look it up.
In the reading, if you look at the example in the reading, it goes through and says step 1, identify the variables. So then it's got this little paragraph thing of, in this example, all the variables except this, and the 2 most important are this, and the next most important is this, and the final tier is this, and it kind of gives the weight in all of that.
Okay.
But wouldn't the chart just be an easier way to show that?
Yeah, I was thinking that that's sort of how what the chart is doing.
It is what it's doing, but chart is number 4. That's where you put it all together. You have to have the paragraphs of text to explain. You
can't. But does it say that anywhere?
It does. Well, the teacher has mentioned it in the discussion board.
Oh, she did.
Mm-hmm.
This assignment wasn't very clear on how you need to do it. I just jumped to step 4 because I was like, that's the visual that brings it all together. And
well, I would assume because step 4 just says to compute the score. So in the reading, so to me, doing step 1, 2, and 3 was already done when we made the chart by deciding which ones we're giving. You know, identifying the variables. That's doing.
Yeah, the variables are there on the chart.
The variables are there, and that's giving the weight to it. That's what that's what it's saying there. So, so let's see. So the most important is this. The most important is this. That would be giving the weight to it. Would be step 1.
She wants us going through step 1, writing it out. Step
and that's
2,
in the,
writing it out. Step 3,
in the discussion board. Then.
Mm-hmm. She wants us to specifically go through each step.
Well, see, think about this. If you were grading it, say you were grading it, and all we gave you was a chart for each 3, how would you grade us? There's no rationality. There's no paragraph of why you did which weight and why you chose. I mean, the score, step 2 is basically just saying, okay, E, L, F, for the things, and then saying 0, -1, 2, and then from the scoring table, grabbing which one that went with it so that you kind of see it.
Yeah, I guess I just was confused because it just seemed like I don't.
Okay.
Where is it that she says that then? Where is it under? Oh,
under I think the notes for instructor. I'm not
all
sure.
Under that week 3 lecture thing.
I believe so. I believe that's where I found it. I copied and pasted what a different Brittany asked her, and then what she responded in our Slack discussion.
I do see the example in the book, though, where it shows how they gave it like a score and then they say why they gave it.
Yeah. So I just think that we all need to agree upon the weights given and the scores given. And then we can go through and individually write some of these out.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and we also need to come up with a visual hierarchy, that little chart. I haven't made
variable hierarchy.
Uh-huh. Because we have to make a little chart.
Okay, I guess I'm just confused because even her instructions, like I would still read that and think like, oh, okay, we're good with the chart. So, I
just, from what I got from it was that there's an example in the book, follow the example. But you kind of have to go step 1, step 2. I don't know. That's my take on it.
Okay. Well, then I didn't do any of that part. I just did the chart. So I guess I'll have to look backwards on whatever when I.
Yeah. I think none of us did the first 3.
Okay.
And so I think we all just did the chart. And so if we agree on the charts across the board, then we can reverse back and write everything for those top ones.
Okay.
You know, that's
writing stuff out, but it wasn't the right stuff. It was like I have a paragraph, but it's using the stuff that we had from the situation. That I don't know. I mean, I could post it in and see what you guys think, and we can change the.
I mean, the situational sort of more applies to number 3 because that's talking about the biggest problem. So that is where we talk about the biggest problem.
Right. Well,
and that part I still don't really get.
I posted my Google Doc that has all of my stuff in it. That has step 1, step 2, but I don't know. I mean, I think Brittany had the steps. Did Brittany have the steps too, or was it just the chart for Brittany?
In my first one, I have just the chart, and then I have the steps in a different one. But however we want to do it is fine. We just need to have the step 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So
I wrote in the Google Doc that we liked Brittany's weights.
I'm going to share my screen. This
I'll go for it.
Is my weights in my graph. So we're good with these weights.
I think it's fine.
Okay. Next thing I sort of think we have to decide this part. Where did this timer fall? Which, you know, what kind of score did you guys give these for each of these?
Oh, school.
Well, mine I think was off because I was doing, I don't know. I was kind of situational, but I guess this one is situational now.
Yeah, now it sort of is the situation. You put yourself using that timer. How does it score in use?
Okay. So what I did was I had a -2 on efficiency, but I could get behind a -1. I think that would be fine. I had a 2 on learnability because it seemed like it would be easy to learn, but because just the button, you know.
Yeah, I had a 1 on learnability.
Okay. So you guys.
I could get behind a 1.
Sarah, what did you have on learnability?
I actually had 0, but 1's fine.
Well, if there's 2 of you that had 0, then I don't.
I think we leave it at 0.
Because
I just seemed like it would, you know, you'd hit expert on it because it, once you use it once, boom, you're gonna take right off.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. I'm not. That sounds good.
I don't know what happened to everything. Okay. Wait, that's not the one I want. Nope. Sorry, my daughter was signed on, so I was only able to see the stuff instead of being able to adjust it. So for learnability, we're leaning more towards a 1 or a 2.
I think so.
1.
Probably
A 1?
That's what we decided, yeah.
We think it'll be fairly easy. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wait. That'd be a 0.2 then.
Yeah.
Okay, what about familiarity? I don't think that it really plays a big role.
I put 0.
I had a -1, but I could.
I had 0 also.
So I could see 0.
Okay. Simplicity.
I had a 0.
I had a 0.
Okay. Mapping.
I had -1.
I had a -1.
Negative. Me too.
Okay.
That's what I have as well. Motivation.
I had a 0.
0.
0. I have a trust.
0.
0.
I put a 0 as well. And visibility.
I had a -1.
I have a -2.
I have a -2 also.
So I was going to put -2, but my husband said that with searching, you could find the answer to the reset problem. So I don't know.
I guess I was thinking because there wasn't even a reset button. I don't know, that it couldn't be found. Like it wasn't, you weren't going to be able to just see it if you looked for it because it wasn't there, but maybe that was the wrong sort of thinking.
Oh, maybe that, like visually searching, not like researching.
Yes, the visibility. Just based on the visibility of it, it couldn't be found.
I can see that as a -2. We're good.
Sounds good. Yep.
So that's -0.1, -0.2. So I think the math's right there. -0.6 is what I am finding for that. And I am going to...
Yeah, I was going to say just copy and paste it in.
Okay.
Okay, and then what are we just giving one? I mean, there's only 3 problems, so kind of how are we going to divide it up like we usually?
Well, there's 3 steps on each problem. I know it doesn't like discourages, but it needs to be discourages rather than discouraged. I don't know why it hates it.
I like it now, I think, unless it doesn't have an E in there.
It does. I don't know. Okay, so I just want us all to agree. So let's jump to the shower controls.
Sounds good.
Efficiency. Well, let's talk about weights.
Yeah.
What did you guys find to be the most important with this?
I put trust. I don't know why though, honestly. Now that
See, I put the most important as visibility. You need to be able to see and understand what it is. Mapping, you need to be able to have a mental map of what each of those controls are doing. And then learnability for me. It needs to be simple to learn. You don't want to spend 10 minutes figuring out how to turn on a shower.
Mm-hmm. The thing I'm worried about is with our when we did it last, it wasn't in these variables, it was in other ones. But the whole issue with the shower was that she couldn't execute it. That it needed the dexterity or whatever to actually be able to turn it. So I mean, she knew how to do it. It showed hot and it showed cold. So, I mean, I don't think there's a visibility issue there because she knows how to do it. But maybe I'm just putting it back in the situation.
See, if I remembered the situation right, maybe I'm not remembering the situation right.
Oh, careful.
Looking at it.
So, but for this step, we're just looking at just the shower. Just the shower controls itself.
The shower controls, if I'm a visual person, they show me that visual. None of those are labeled.
Right, but this is wrong. That picture is wrong because it says in the description there are 2 knobs. This is what threw me off on the last one because I thought it was a presentation error. But there's only 2 knobs. According to the description. If you go back and look at the description.
Okay.
It says there's only 2 knobs. I know, I was like, this has to be a visibility, but it's not. Because it says that tonight they were staying in a classic old hotel built over 100 years ago. The place is cool. It even has a closet tub. After a long day on the road, Christine decides to take a shower. She steps in the tub and starts turning the 2 faucets. She succeeds in getting water to come out, but it's crazy hot. She frantically starts turning the faucets, and now it's ice cold. Back and forth she goes, alternately burning and freezing her feet. Well, finally she calls her mom, and after quite a bit of fiddling, they get the water to an acceptable temperature. Even though the water is slightly too cold, she's afraid to touch the faucets again.
I think that there might be a little bit of visibility still.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't seem like it's evident what's hot and cold and where to turn them.
That's true.
I mean, maybe not quite as high as I thought. So what would we want our 2 highest? What matters the most in these showers? See, and even that's situational. Even if there's 2 knobs, I think visibility is a high importance, being able to just look at it and know.
No, I agree.
But I also think
I have to get out.
That familiarity is a big thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was the familiarity that was a big issue. But
yeah, because you want them to be similar, and if they're not similar, you need to at least have a visibility. I can see that now, and a learnability aspect. I think those 3 are pretty high.
Okay, so do we want learnability, familiarity, visibility to be our highest?
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Sure now. So I think maybe familiarity might need to be highest because if it's not familiar, I don't know. But if it's not visible, then I don't know. Then familiar would.
I mean, we can rate all of those the same.
Yeah, I think learnability would still be higher just because it's that issue of the learnability of how much I do turn on the hot as compared to how much I do turn on the cold. Like the familiarity is not going to matter. It's more that learning, like where that proper balance is between the hot and the cold.
So do we want
that's my
to be our highest?
That's just my thoughts that I think it should be, but.
So we do learnability and then visibility and familiarity together. So learnability higher.
Yep. I can get behind that.
I can see that.
That sounds good.
Where do we wait next?
Well, what did you weight for learnability? Like a 2 or 3? I mean, are you doing, because that, that one column all has to equal to.
Yep. 1. So I had I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, you
as
are.
I'm typing this out. So I put learnability to 0.3, familiarity to 0.1 or 0.2, and visibility to 0.2. So we're at 0.7. We can adjust that if we need to. We have 5 more. So is there one that you think is the next highest?
Why don't we ask which one we would eliminate first, and then we can kind of go from there. Would that be a good idea? Hold on.
I think we can eliminate motivation.
Okay.
That's my thought, at least.
I'm fine with that.
Anyone else agree with that? No?
I agree with that. I think that's fine.
I think that's fine, yeah.
So, I mean, if it's just the two handles and they turn, maybe the mapping isn't that big of a deal either.
Well, isn't the
True.
mapping how the user thinks it should work and it doesn't?
Yeah.
So wouldn't the mapping be an issue because it's not working how she thought it would?
Okay. Agreed.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm putting it back in the situation though. But I would think that that would be important regardless of the situation because you'd want it to work the way you think it should.
So we have 4 items and 0.3 to spread across. Is there one of these 4 that we feel sits higher? Or 2 that sit higher and 2 that can be at 0.5?
Okay, so what do we have left? I think, I don't know. I mean, efficiency would probably be good because you'd want it to not, you know, to go really quickly, to go in and out.
I agree.
Because you'd want it to turn on at the right. My shower right now is not efficient. You turn it on and it's like hot, but then you move it and it takes like a minute or so before it changes the water temperature. So,
I think for me, the other part is I would say the mapping, because you want it to do what you understand it to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think trust and simplicity can be down at the point like 5s or whatever. That
okay.
3.
That should.
Is that right?
I have 10.
Okay, perfect. If you have 10, then go there.
We have 10.
Does everyone agree with that? I don't know.
Does everybody agree with these weights?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then scoring them.
Okay.
Let me find one.
For efficiency, I mean, I don't know. I sort of thought, well, I think this one you could argue with a negative efficiency because it didn't work quite as expected.
Well, I don't know, because I would think that would be a mapping that it didn't work quite as expected. The efficiency, it changed hot, cold really fast.
You're right. It did.
I think it's comparable.
Okay, that's what I put initially.
That's what I put. Comparable.
Learnability, I scored it a 0.
I think 1, but I don't know.
I could see a 1 because it's not just that most will achieve intermediate. I mean, some could achieve experts where they're like so good at getting just the right spot to get just the right temperature of water. I don't know.
I put 0 also, but 1 works for me too.
I'm easy. Okay. Familiarity. I sort of put a D because it doesn't seem to work the same as others. So some familiarity could mislead.
So you put -1?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I put as well.
Because it doesn't sound like it works the same as other designs.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't know, you know, she had to fiddle. I don't know. I could go with that.
Okay, what about simplicity?
I have a -1.
That's what I put as well.
I put 0, but I'm fine with the -1.
I'm good with -1.
Okay, mapping. I don't feel like it suggests. I don't feel like it suggested any sort of mapping one way or another.
That's true.
I felt like it just didn't encourage a mental map. And that was the problem.
I could. What did everyone else put?
I put a 1, but I don't know why. Because now that I'm thinking about it, sometimes I'm like, wait, I'm not sure why I put that because. But because when you said that, like, I don't think it, you know, either way, I agree with that. So.
I put a 1 too, but I don't. A 0 is fine.
Go let puppies
Okay.
out. I have a daughter sick with a cold. She just slept for 12 hours and woke up.
Oh, poor
Okay,
girl.
so are we good with 0?
Yep, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about motivation?
Well, at the very end of it, she didn't want to touch it anymore. So I almost wonder if there was even a -2 on it, because she's like, I don't even want to touch this
But
anymore.
is-
There was no motivation.
Is the motivation based on the end of based on after what happens, or is it based on?
That's true. I don't know.
It is the overall experience. It's based on the overall experience, which I put as prefer not to use. But I could see irritation, distaste, annoyance.
No, I can see a -1. Prefer not to use.
Which one do we want to go with? -1, -2?
I mean, if we're going with her experience, I might would put -2 because I would be annoyed if my shower was too cold.
Either way, it doesn't matter because it's a
True.
0.
True.
But either one is fine.
That's the
-1.
one we took out was motivation.
I think Sarah's right on that. Like, and it did say that she got she got frustrated with it. So
we want to change it to a -2.
yeah, if it's the overall experience, then
It is, I think. Okay. And now what about trust?
Definitely a -2 on that one. She doesn't trust it at all anymore.
Yeah, I put a -2 on that one too.
She's not gonna touch it.
And visibility. I put a -2.
I have a 0 because
I have a
for me, I guess I still think that the like I'm thinking about the controls of it. They can be found. She's not understanding necessarily what she's supposed to do exactly, but they can be found.
Well,
it's not super convenient. They weren't super convenient, but they were, but they were there. It wasn't like how the timer, like there was not a reset button at all. So I guess for me, I thought, well, there is still a hot, there is still a cold. She figured out what they were. She just didn't know how to work them. So the visibility, I gave a 0. But
okay.
That's my
The learnability issue, not necessarily visibility.
See, my thing was that it doesn't clearly show, like my shower shows different ranges of temperature in it. There is visibility there. You know that if you want it hot, you turn it here. If you want it melded right, you turn it here. If you want it all the way one direction, you turn it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. At the
So
same point, because it's 2 different knobs, I mean, mine in my shower is like one thing that you turn like this to get hot or cold. Whereas 2 knobs, you do kind of have to have that learnability of, okay, I turn this one this much and I turn this one this much to achieve the right temperature that I want. So I don't necessarily think it's visibility because there's hot knob and a cold knob, and she knows which one's hot and which one's cold. It's just that dexterity, that turning the knobs to make sure that it's, that learnability. I don't know.
That's fine. So then we give it, based on that, our score is a -0.05.
Okay.
The first one was a -0.6.
Okay.
Okay. Range top controls. Let's talk about weight. I had familiarity and motivation being the biggest ones. Although I don't know why I put motivation.
I have familiarity as 0.3.
I did also.
And then I put, but I'm not sure. I mean, this is dumb because but I put learnability as 0.2, but I kind of don't know why. And then mapping is 0.2, but I'm not doing it.
Start to second guess our choices, right?
Well, I did this a couple of days ago, so I'm like, I don't know my train of thought when I was doing it.
No, I have familiarity as 0.3, and I actually had mapping and visibility as 0.2.
Okay.
I think but I actually did that. Well, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, if you take it out of the situation, I could see visibility being something that you would, I mean, you'd want them to be clearly labeled. Otherwise, you're just going to be fiddling around with everything.
And you want to understand the setup.
So I would
think
visibility and learnability would be pretty high on there. I mean, you'd also, this looks like a gas stove, you'd want efficiency, because otherwise you're going to sit there with gas coming out, and if it doesn't light right away. But then I grew up on a gas stove, so I don't know if it's gas or if it's electric. It doesn't say.
The picture, it's gas. Yeah, definitely gas.
So what do we want as our highest weighted?
Probably visibility, because you'd want to know which knob goes to which thing. I don't know, but maybe it's learnable. I don't know. Someone else talk.
I don't know. I just still said familiarity, but I don't know if that's.
I mean, that's what I had too, but I didn't hear your whole conversation about the situation. So I did all this based on the same situation as last week. And so,
well, I think the weights we're supposed to try and put out of the situation. If you want to use this project.
So pretend it's just a normal gas stove. It's not anybody else's. Just look at the picture and say, this is in my neighbor's house. You know, what would I need to know about it?
Then I think familiarity would be, because there are people who have gas stoves and there are people who have electric ranges. Like, I honestly don't really know how to use a gas stove. They make me nervous because I've always had an electric stove. So I think the familiarity is a huge issue, because is this the type I'm familiar with, or is this the type that I'm not? I don't know. For me, that's my thought, at least.
No, I like that.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm just that's just my thought process.
I
could see that. I grew up on a gas stove, so I wasn't too worried about it, but this is why there's several things. Several people. Go ahead, someone else was talking.
Is there something that we feel is as high as familiarity? That's so wrong.
I would think visibility, because as long as you can be familiar with which one it is, gas or electric, then as long as the controls are visible, it should be easy to learn, right?
Sure, I think so. I mean, if you're talking about me just going out and buying a stove, I mean, I think learnability I'd want it to be high, something easy to learn. But and then, I don't know. You'd want it to be efficient. If we're just talking about, like, what's this? I mean, what is it? I guess, don't get the situation, because I feel like anything would have to kind of have a situation. Like, am I buying this stove? Am I, trying to use my friends? Because you would get a different response for, like, most, so I guess I don't know how to weigh it without it being in some kind of situation.
Right. So maybe
I think it's still compared to it's compared maybe still to other stoves. Is that what it is? It's not with the situation that, like, we know about the thing going into a friend's house, but as compared to other stoves, is that sort of what we're, so the efficiency in that, like, we're comparing it to another stove. Like, what's the weight? Like, how important is the efficiency as compared to, a different, I guess.
Yeah.
And see, even that, though, is totally situational, because how you were saying, you never had a gas stove, some people would rather it to be simple than efficient, or I don't know. I still think that's hard, because
well, then look at it in the situation with this girl that was in this situation and unfamiliar. In order for her to use this, what's the most important?
Well, I know, and that's how I judged mine. That's how I did mine. So, definitely familiarity. Go ahead, sorry.
No, you're fine. Sorry, I had a child, and so I wasn't sure if I was even coming through. What if we were to put it as, say, you're shopping for a stove? Okay, if you're shopping for a stove, you want something familiar. You want something you don't have to go and learn how to use.
Definitely.
You want something that's efficient. You want it to be able to work for you quickly in order to cook your food. I mean, obviously, we just said we want it to be able to, that you can learn it quickly. So, I mean, familiarity, learnability, and efficiency, those seem like the high points when you're going, you want to go buy a stove. I mean, you're not going to worry too much about the visibility necessarily, because as long as it's easy to use, the visibility is going to come. The trust is going to come by if it's easy to learn and it's familiar. You know, you're going to be able to trust it more if it's familiar.
So what do we want as our top? Do we want visibility and familiarity as our top?
I don't even think visibility has to be on the top. I
think she's right. I think visibility. I was thinking that originally, but when she puts it in that context, like I'm thinking about the example of the in the reading with the, in the book, let me look at it, with the handles, you know, the visibility, I don't know, I guess. Yeah, I'm not sure.
For a stranger to come in and use this that hasn't learned it already, you have to have some visibility.
So it's still
the knobs have to show what they control.
Right, but I think that's situation based. I think that's in the scoring that we would need to put visibility higher. Isn't it? Because that's the situation based. I don't know.
Well, no, we still would, because you'd need to have, I mean, you would need to have the visibility of the controls and know what they do.
In the situation, you would say whether or not it was visible. But in order for somebody to step up and use a stove that they've never used before, in order for them to effectively use it without frustration, there needs to be visibility.
Yes.
Okay, so we should put them both as the top, because with one without the other, meaning you either need to be familiar or you need to have it visible. Either one without, you'd have to have one without the other, meaning they're kind of interchangeable. So you think we should put them together?
You do not want knobs to be some brand new thing that you've never seen of a knob before.
That's true.
You want familiarity. You want it to be easily visible.
Okay.
So
done.
I have those as the highest. The next part that I was thinking was mapping and learnability, but you guys were saying efficiency too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd want it to be efficient if you were going out and buying a stove, but if we're talking about going into someone's house, and like the other situation, then efficiency, I think, is a 0. I mean, I don't think that, I mean, it might not be a 0, but I think it would be weighed a lot less. But if you were going out and buying a stove, you would want one like an efficient stove.
At the same time, if you're going into someone else's house and they say, turn the burner off, and you go to try and turn the burner off and it doesn't turn off right away.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't really.
I don't know. I could see familiarity, visibility, and then learnability and mapping, and then maybe efficiency under that. I could see that. It doesn't, I mean, efficiency isn't as high as being able to learn how to do it and having the mapping of, okay, this visibility says it's going to be the back burner, but all of a sudden it shows that, you know, the front burner working, you know, the mapping's wrong.
Yeah.
That could be big. So I could see that. Let's go with that.
Sounds good.
So let me see if I'm paying attention right. I have visibility and familiarity top. And then I have efficiency, learnability, and mapping at the next level. Is that what we were saying? Or am I throwing something in there that wasn't there?
I think that's good.
No, I think that's what I heard as well.
And then the next one is simplicity and trust. And I took motivation out.
Yes.
Hey girl, you really need to go sit down. Okay.
Do we all?
Yes.
Okay. So in this situation, these knobs seem to work the same and respond as good as any other.
Yes.
Yes.
So I put 0.
Okay. Learnability.
I also put 0.
I put 0 there as well. Familiarity. I put a -2.
That's what I have as well.
Okay. Simplicity. I put a 0.
I have a 1.
I put a
Oh, let me see.
But that doesn't mean it needs to, I mean, but I can see 0 too. So whatever, what does everyone else have?
I don't know why I put a -1, understandable, but a 0 is fine.
Okay.
Simplicity.
Yeah, simplicity.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's simple to use. Most people will be able to internalize it once they know it.
Okay.
I think it's, yeah, I think 0 is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mapping. Because in it said that it did have, if you go back and look, it says that it does have the little symbols.
Yes.
I felt like it encourages a valid mental map.
I also put that.
I put a 2, but either way is fine.
So, are we good with a 1 there?
Yeah, that's fine.
1's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motivation.
I put a 1 on motivation. But
I mean, we have a 0 on it, so that one doesn't really
it doesn't matter.
Okay. What about trust?
I put a 0.
I put a 0 as well. And then visibility.
I have a 1.
I can see that.
I would, yeah, 1. But it's convenient, but it's not the most convenient.
Okay.
There could be things out there that are more convenient. You want a cracker?
Now let's see if I can do my math right. 0, that's 0. -6, 0, 1, 0, 0. So this is -0.3. Did I copy and paste this one over, or did I just copy and paste the first one?
I think you just did the first one. At least that's what I saw. It might be. I'm kind of take a note on step 1, like, okay, visibility with this, familiarity with this, and then we can kind of put our paragraphs with them or whatever. But we'll want to do this like today, because otherwise we're going to forget our rationality.
And it's due today.
Exactly.
Okay. I obviously was not paying attention to my spelling as I was.
And it doesn't have. Oh, I know why discourages isn't right. There's an S missing. We're good.
See, I was paying. Guys, I am running on such little sleep. It's not even funny.
Well, that's understandable. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Spent all day Saturday at a funeral home, and I get to do it. Yeah, the amount of time I've spent at a funeral home lately is sad. I'm not done.
Well, Katie, where's your Nana? I'm not giving you another Nana.
Okay, so we're good with this.
Yes. But I am confused about what exactly is supposed to happen for step 1, 2, and 3 then. Well, step 3, I get. We're supposed to do the little
table thing, but maybe we should at least write out which one.
No, step 1 is just
that's where I'm confused by exactly
the most important. Efficiency.
Oh, so all we're saying is that all we're doing is breaking down the.
And we say a little blurb why, and the next most important is this, and here's why, and the least is this,
and here's why. Katie, I'm not getting you another Nana.
Okay.
I gave you 2. Where is it? There it is. There's your Nana. It's down there. Look at that. Or PFX. That's fine. Yeah. So really,
So,
it's
and that is what we're doing.
These are the weights we gave it. This is why it's 30%. This is why it's this. This is.
And
why
we're
it's
using these to explain why. So you're explaining each one little sentence right there. That's step one. So.
Sorry, Sarah got kicked out. Gave her a new link. Hopefully that helps her back in.
So step two, we're going to list each one of these. And yeah, you're going to explain why we gave it that score.
Is it explaining why? Because in the example, it was just they took score 1 and then the description for score 1. So all data and functionality required to perform an action is present in a single location, you know, like visibility.
No, it
That's
says efficiency -5. The door sticks and requires more effort than one would expect. That's the individual analysis.
Hey, be nice. Oh, hold on.
What were you guys talking about? Mine went out for a minute. I couldn't get back on.
Just what to do for the steps, each step. So step 2 is sort of doing what we did last week then. That's what step 2 is.
Step 2 is really explaining the little bit of rationale behind what we scored things. So efficiency on this, -1, it's below average. And how about it is not easy to there we go.
Yes.
And then we gave learnability a score of 1.
Okay, and so then just do that. Okay.
And then, you know, anyone can master this timer with some
Got it.
effort.
Okay.
So most. So that's what I was thinking. And then this is sort of the big problem. So the biggest problem with the I think the biggest problem with the timer is
this where we need to draw? Do we have to draw one of those little?
I don't know if we need to actually draw it out.
Okay.
I mean, if we can.
So we just have to explain it sort of in the way that the book explained the one. The biggest problem is this. The expectation is inconsistent. Okay.
Yeah, illustrating the relationship with a simple graph is often instructive as well. It doesn't say it's needed. So the main problem with the timer is, didn't we say it was mapping?
Yeah, I was just looking at the thing that she said on, like the instructor says, variable hierarchy, map the relationship between the variables. So does that mean we do need that little picture, or can we just go ahead and explain it?
I think we can explain it.
I mean, those pictures are pretty easy to do, like in Word. I mean, they have the little bubbles. You just grab and put one in. So and arrows. So
I mean, I think either way, but I don't think those are hard to make.
Yeah. So, but I mean, if we do that little diagram, do we still need to explain it, or can we call the diagram good?
I would think you could call the diagram good, but
Okay.
you're already kind of explaining it in other steps. So.
Yeah, I guess I'm just looking at, hers just says map the relationship between the variables on step 3 is what hers says. Make sure to include the following. 3, map the relationship.
So for this one, I would then say,
Yeah, we put what the biggest issue was with the.
Okay, so I mean, but what's the plan? Because I mean, are we splitting it up again?
yeah, I think that we're gonna split it up.
Okay.
I'm going through this so we all are on the same
page.
You know, sort of giving an example of.
And then are we meeting again, or what are we doing for the next one that's due on Friday?
We may have to meet again, but I'm a little confused. So.
I mean, I am confused, but someone else asked her, because my confusion on that one came through. You had to put like 6 users, and then you had to write like a 1 or 2 word label.
Yes.
But then she had something, like someone asked her that specific question, but she said, I put it on the Google Hangouts, I just copied and pasted it, but she said something to the effect of like the label and I mean, it could be the same. So she gave an example of an electrician using the switch, and you have to write like a 1. I was trying to see, but for some reason my computer is just going so slow. But she said how I can't find it. But anyway, like the label of that one would be the electrician. So he would like be the user, but you need to write a sentence like a user would install this. But then
okay. I see it.
Yeah. And then she said you needed like 2 to 3 sentences of
why they'd be the primary user or not.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it says, so the user, a short sentence that briefly describes the possible user. So like an electrician who installs new breaker panels. Yeah. So the label is just electrician. That seems redundant to me, completely redundant.
Well, it totally is. But that was where because I started working on this and I was like, it's the same thing. Like, I don't get how.
That's why I was confused by. So I don't think that I started doing it right, because I didn't get even as far as the second label, because I'm like, I don't know. Like I put like, you know.
I guess I'm not seeing the discussion that you guys are talking about where she explained this.
It's on. I can show my screen. You want me to show my screen?
Problem set 2.1.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's say I was going to say like that I'm the one who would use the circuit breaker, and it's because like my hairdryer blew the circuit. So I would say a mom whose hair dryer blew the circuit, and then I would but the label would be what? I mean, mom?
Well, mom, I guess, yeah.
That's right. So basically you just take whatever noun you used in the sentence and make that be the label.
That's what she made it sound like. So I'm not going to argue with her because that will be easier.
Yeah, I just am like, I'm like, I don't get it, but okay.
Yeah. Well, what was the example? Because it said like a 1 to 2 word sentence. I just remember somewhere it's saying like a babysitter, but what was that?
In the circuit breaker one, it said a list of all possible users for the switch. Next, for each item in the list, give a 1 or 2 word label, such as babysitter.
Oh, so they didn't give an example of their first one then? Like,
No.
Okay.
No, but it says, so it says give a, yes, that's right. Okay. So it would be, the possible user then would be what? A babysitter and I don't know.
A babysitter who...
Well, they didn't want it to be as specific as a 14-year-old babysitter, but they didn't want to be as general as female, so maybe a teenage babysitter.
Well, that's why I'm like, but the list part, like the possible users. So what do you have to put? I mean, because that other one that she gave the example, what did it say? Like an electrician who installs the new breaker panels. So what? Like it's basically like a babysitter who tripped the breaker somehow. I mean,
Yeah.
That's all you have to put.
I guess you could go into more detail there. A teenage babysitter.
Or yeah, a teenager who tripped the breaker panel, and then you put the label as babysitter. So maybe that's what it is. A woman whose hair dryer tripped the breaker. Then you put the label is that she's a wife or mom. Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, she used the same word, so I'm not going to be too worried about about using the same word.
Okay.
And so those, I mean, I think then it's hard. What kind of 2 to 3 sentences are you going to use? Like to, I mean, that's not going to be hard just to like make something up and make it sound good. So, I mean, that'll be fine.
No. Well, I was thinking for that part, for the rationale, I think it's easier to explain why the person who would be the most, the user that will give you the most insight. But I'm not sure how to give the rationale explaining why they wouldn't be as much. I mean, because when I think about like in my house, I'm the one who uses the circuit breakers the most, because if someone does, I live in a very old house. My breakers get tripped all the time. I mean, that's why I said the hairdryer thing. Like if someone's in my bathroom, like, and someone's using a hairdryer in both bathrooms, we're screwed. I mean, so I got to go out and flip the breaker. So for me, like when I'm thinking, like in that sense, I'm like, okay, well, that's why I would explain that. But then I think, well, an electrician is going to use a circuit breaker more often than anyone else because he's going to be doing electrical work. So I guess it's the part about, if I was going to use the babysitter, what would be my rationale for why they would be less important? I don't really know.
Why they would be using it in the first place. I think you would have to have some kind of, why would a babysitter use a circuit breaker?
Well, yeah, that's why I'm like, I
think that's the brief rationale.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why are they a really important user or why are not? Because right now we're just going through anyone that might touch it.
Yeah.
So the babysitter could touch it.
Yes.
The babysitter, a teenage babysitter who is occasionally in the home, who might trip the breaker. And then in our rationale is this one isn't quite as important because it's not often in the house, and most likely, I don't know, me as a babysitter when I was younger, I used as few appliances as possible. I touched as little as possible in somebody else's house.
Yeah.
And that sort of be the rationale. And then we have the woman of the home who is in the home the majority of the time, is around when all the different appliances in the home are being used. So she is more of a primary user and should be weighted higher in the personas because she uses it more. She's around it more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
And I think this one's a little bit easier. The next one's about a drill. And so I put like people who would use it, like a framer or, you know, but I mean, most of them, like their job was kind of dependent on a drill. I mean, I don't know. I just think some of the, I mean, like, so, but that's, I mean, that's easy to, I can write something up. That's not hard to write something up of why, the rationale. I mean, and kind of weight it.
And that's how all three of those are.
Yeah.
So you create a user and you create a label for them. So like the housewife or the woman of the house. And then there's the man of the house who, you know, I mean, with a drill, a cordless drill, I could see it go any way. Like homeowners would use it.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the first three. And then the last one, it's the CB radio. That's on it too, isn't it? Or is it just?
Yeah, that one's more like you have to do
different.
Yeah, you have to figure out how, like, where you're going to get information. How are you going to find?
How are you going to create a persona? How are you going to figure out who the users are?
Yeah.
So I don't know if this assignment we want to split up.
I mean, I wouldn't mind splitting it up and then maybe just having people put it on the Google Documents and other people can read what they say. And
then if come Friday we have questions, we can meet at Friday on 11 o'clock again. But if not, we can keep sailing.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
That sounds good to me. That way we're not all trying to do all.
I think that works.
Yeah.
And then what are we going to do about Spencer? I mean, are we just going to assign him one? What are we doing? And
well, I know when she set up the groups, sorry, I thought someone else was talking because I could hear my echo. I know when she set up the group, she said that she tried to put ones that had, you know, the same availability, and it seemed that he said that his availability was during the day, but that hasn't been the case. So I don't know if there was something going on there, and if that would be his job to reach out to her and explain that his availability isn't working with us, or what, because I know if the rest of us, I mean, if the daytime, you know, and there's always given situations like Brittany with your, you know, stuff going on with you, and there's always, you know, there's always that sort of stuff, but every time not being able to.
Well, and I don't feel like there was even an attempt made. It was, oh, I can't make it. Give me a piece.
yeah. Well, and he said yesterday that one day that it would work. And then it was like last night at 11, he was like, oh, can't do it. I'm working. And I'm thinking, like, wouldn't he have known the day before if he was working or not? I mean, I have no idea what his job is. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that we just need to.
Maybe we should just talk to the teacher and be like, hey, he's not here. We don't want to give him zeros for not being here, but how do we need to move him to a different group, or, you know, we don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I think that I mean, I think there needs to be discussion with him.
Right.
Like, can you make the meetings? Because the teacher made it clear you have to make the meetings to do the assignment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I think.
And because our decision, and he did not dissent, was to meet once for both assignments, that means he's not a part of either assignment this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know, I mean, looking at the groups, it says Mountain Standard Time, he's available to meet morning and afternoon. Because there were other groups that were evening and weekend, you know?
There are other groups. So if this doesn't work for him, then that's one thing. He needs to reach out to the teacher and find a group that works. The other problem is he's not reaching out to us saying, you know, like I was in the fiasco of going to the funeral home. It was like, well, could we make one work? Which, thank heavens we didn't do it, because I was at the funeral home that day making plans from 9 until 5 because they lost all of my grandfather's paperwork. So it was fun stuff. But like, he's not even trying to say, hey, I get off work at 2. Can we meet at 2 instead of 11?
Yeah.
That's the issue.
I kind of think we let it slide the first week because, you know, she said that.
Yeah.
So I think, like, I almost think like this week it was just like, I really don't want to do that. I mean, he might have had work, but I'm saying, yeah, he didn't try to say, hey, I have work.
Can we meet a different time?
Yeah, it was just kind of like, give me my little part like you did last week.
And really, last week, what we should have done is said, okay, you're doing the assignment by yourself instead of just here's a little, because it was either do it as a group or do it individually, and we should have.
Well, and I don't feel like he ever, like the time that I missed the meetings, I did the assignment ahead of time and I gave it to you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
I wasn't there to discuss, but I gave you my input to use as you saw fit in the meeting. And he never did that.
Yeah.
I made sure I was trying to contribute to the meeting when I knew I wouldn't be able to attend. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's not something he's just saying, give me a teeny tiny piece. He's not going through the full effort like we have with all of us working through most of these assignments and now working through it together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, he didn't make the meeting. He's not a part of these assignments this week.
I took his name
If
out.
he feels like he can make the meetings next week, then he can be a part of the assignment next week. If he's doesn't feel like he can make our meetings or is not willing to try, he can find a different group. I think it sort of has to be tough.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. We were a little too lenient. Okay.
Because he didn't contribute at all.
No, he didn't. I mean, I wrote something to him on that board, but I don't know if he looks through that. But
Well, he did give us something for that one problem on like the drinking fountain or whatever it was that we left for him. He did give us that.
Well,
but it was like he just did that tiny little. He probably didn't even do the assignment.
That was probably it. He probably only did that.
That's probably what he wanted to do again. You know, I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? I would want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my issue, is that it's possible. That's what I thought about, like that I didn't finish 2.1 because it confused me, but I did the other one, and I did as much of 2.1 as I could do with understanding it. And I my guess is not being able to meet is based on not having it done. And that, I mean, that's an assumption, I guess, which I shouldn't do, but
and he didn't give it anything to us beforehand, and there's not a motivation to contribute to the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's team, what little piece can I do? And that's not the way these teams are supposed to work. So he can do an individual assignment if he wants. Let's talk about us.
Okay.
So I have 2.1 in front of me. We have 4 pieces.
Let's just break it out. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I would snag the CB radio if nobody cares. I mean, I haven't done any of it yet. Sounds like you guys have at least started on the other ones.
I haven't started on any of it, so.
I mean,
good with anything you want to give me.
Sarah and Miranda, it sounds like you guys have at least Sarah's started on this.
Yeah, I've worked the most on number 1, but honestly, I mean, I can do
if you've done the most on number 1, I've done the same on 1, 2, and 3. It sounds like you have actually done even more on number 1 than I have. So give me either 2 or 3, and I'm great with that. So
yeah. So Sarah and then Miranda and Melissa can split up 2 and 3 how you guys want, and then I'll do 4.
Sure.
Okay. And the question, Miranda, is if you want half a dozen users or a dozen. Oh no, they're both half a dozen. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're both the same. It's just different set.
First
one of them had a dozen, I thought, and so I was like, oh well, who wants the more?
The first 3 are the same.
Okay, I can take the stopwatch.
Okay, sounds good. I'll do number 2.
Okay. So we have that split up, and I say we all have it. Can we all have it done by, do we want to say Thursday night, Friday morning?
Oh, Thursday night is fine. I was just hoping you were not going to say tonight, because I'm like, there's no way that's going to happen. I've got a list about a mile long of things that need are due tonight that I'm not getting done. Oh, whoops, my
Yeah.
phone. Sorry.
No, I can't work that far ahead today. Right
No,
now,
I
I'm
can
working
do
on
it
what's due today.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what that's where I'm at also.
I can
So.
work on this tomorrow and have it done by tomorrow night or Friday morning so that Friday we can look over it. And if we have questions, we can meet and then turn it in.
I think we should try to have it done Thursday night if everyone else can do that.
Yeah, I think that'll be fine.
So our agreement to each other is Thursday night.
Yes, by a specific time or just by Thursday night so we can each look over everyone else's and then decide from there if we need to meet.
Yeah. So Friday morning when we wake up, everybody's is done and we can look at it and decide if we need to meet.
So there's also the option that like if, since we can comment, we can make comments on things on, the Google Docs.
Yeah.
If there's something that you see one of the other problems like, oh, I was going this or this, then throw that in there too. So that would always work too. And that might even, be able to work in place of meeting if we just have a few questions or something.
Sounds good.
I think also using Slack, like I think that we've worked well enough as a group that I think if someone has, if I get like, hey, I can't think of a sixth user, I actually don't have my sixth user for the drill. I'm like, I don't know. It seems silly. Like, okay, a cabinet maker.
Well, that's what my list was. A contractor, anyway, framer. I mean, I just had all like these construction.
Oh, so yours was sort of the same thing. Okay, because that's kind of what I was like. Well, I can add like a cabinet maker, but I already had furniture builder and construction worker. So I was trying to, I'm like, how specific do I have to get? So
yeah, I mean, you could just put like a father, because I know my husband was like, we need a drill.
Yeah, no, I actually have that one on there, and are you kidding? I'm not. I'm actually divorced, single mom, 5 kids, but I used the drill way more than my ex ever used the drill, which is why I kept it.
Yeah.
The other person that most people don't think of as a mechanic. Mechanics use drills.
Oh, mechanic. Okay, then I'll take off my cabinet maker. Thanks.
All of their tools to take apart your car part are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Now I don't have a cabinet maker and a I can't remember what the other one. What did I just?
Furniture maker, you said.
Yes, that's right. So, so the other thing I was saying is just with using Slack and that, I think it's okay to like, hey guys, I've got, one issue on this, like, do you, or something we can, I think,
Go for it. We're here. That's what it's for. I'm really struggling. Someone help me out here. That's what it's for.
Yeah. So
let's jump back to what's due today.
Oh, yes.
Because my daughter cut herself on a can and I had to leave and go take care of that. So don't leave your cans in the garbage can.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry.
Is it a bad cut?
Yeah. How bad is it?
Pretty bad. She took off part of her skin right here on her finger. And so I had to put it back on, and then I ran out for my neighbor to help me put it on because she would not let me put a Band-Aid on.
Is it just Band-Aid though? I mean, you don't need to go in and.
I don't think so. It wasn't like she cut off her whole finger or anything, just a chunk of finger.
Good.
A can is the only time my husband has had to have stitches.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
as a grown adult making soup while I was at work, he sliced his thumb and had to have his mother come over to watch the kids so he could go to the emergency room.
Yeah, one of my young women, tuna fish can.
Yep.
Sliced open right there. Yeah.
So we have essentially we have 3 sections on 3 different problems that need to be completed.
Okay.
Mama. As we've been talking, we basically did the variable hierarchy for the first one. How do we want to? I'm fine going through and finishing what I started while we were talking with the timer.
Okay.
And then if you guys want to break up.
Split up parts 1, 2, 3 on the other 2,
yes.
Right? Okay.
But you already have the chart, right? So we just can use that.
We all agreed. We all went through the chart. We all agreed on the chart. So we
Yeah, so
use
that's
that.
gonna be on the Google Doc, so we don't have to.
Yep, that's on the Google Doc that Melissa shared the link to earlier in our Slack.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm good with whatever. Let me look at my. Actually, where am I looking? I'm like, where's the right thing? Is this it?
I don't necessarily care either, so.
Are you the pink one in the Google Doc? Anonymous Wolf?
It's probably me.
Okay. Someone said, is this it? And then all of a sudden I saw a pink cursor show up and I was like, oh, maybe that's them. I'll tell them they're in the right place, but I'm not sure. There's a pink and a blue person in here. So
I think I'm blue.
I don't know.
Is the blue cursor on like step 1? Identify the variables?
no, the pink one is.
Oh.
I thought.
Is it moving?
Anonymous Wolf, yeah,
Okay.
is moving down now.
Okay, that's me.
You're Anonymous Wolf.
Oh, awesome.
It's going to change when you come back out and come back in. I can make it so that I put each of your emails in there and it'll come up as you.
Oh, it's all good. So I'm good with whatever. I am happy to do it. Like, does anyone want to just do the map things, the mental map things, or I'm fine with just doing 1 and 2 on the shower controls, step 1 and 2. If someone else wants to do either someone does 3 on that and 1 on the next one, or 1 and 2 on the next, and someone does both of the visual mapping.
I mean, I don't mind doing the mapping thing, but I don't mind doing other things either. So what do you want, Melissa?
It might be easier if you get in a groove and somebody do the mapping on the hierarchy on both, somebody do the analysis on both. I don't know, whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, that's also true.
Well, since I can't pull myself out of the situation, maybe I ought to do the scoring. Step 2.
Okay.
And score it that way.
Okay.
I don't know. Someone else seemed like they were a little more in the game on identifying the variables than I was. But I'm
we've already identified the variables.
Right. Yeah, it's just making myself actually be able to rationalize.
I'm totally fine with that. If you want me to just do step 1 on both of them, I'll do that. I'm good with that.
Okay, I'll do the maps.
Okay, and I'll do step 2.
And then, so you've already done the map. If I'm on the right, yeah, I am. So you've already done the map on the
first one.
Okay.
So you guys are just doing the stuff on the shower controls and the range top.
Okay.
Okay, I think we can do this.
And then for the map, I mean, I'll just look at the book too, but I mean, I see the one that you did, but I mean, we don't need all of them, right? We just need like the top couple ones.
Yeah, that's what I got. Okay. What is the main problem?
Okay.
So that's what I'm going with.
Okay.
And I'm realizing I have 2 hours to complete 10 hours of homework now.
Yeah, I have about the same. So should probably get more.
My kids are gonna hate me that mommy won't be around. We'll be doing homework tonight.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I have this to do, and then like 5 chapters of reading in another book. But that's it. If I can get in my groove and listen.
No, I've got two quizzes and 6 assignments due, and I'm supposed to be helping with a bridal shower / bachelorette party later this evening. So,
how many classes are you taking?
Me, I've got 4.
Oh, really?
I've got 12 credits.
I'm doing 2.
I've never been able to do that many. That's too hard for me.
Well, it's too hard for me too, but this is my last semester of actual classes, and then I can do my internship and senior project, which I still haven't even gotten figured out, so I'm a little stressed about that. But I'm just like, I just need to just get the classes just done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I was this semester. I was going to go full at it. I had an internship lined up, and I was going to take 2 classes, and my daughter got sick. My grandpa died. I'm in charge of everything. I'm like, I physically can't.
Yeah.
So I'm in 2 classes, and that's it.
Yeah.
The only reason why I didn't drop this class too was because I'm in a group with Melissa. I knew I had a good group. I told my husband, if I drop this class and there's so much group work in this class and I add it next semester and I get a different group, no. Groups make all the difference. I was like, no, I have a good group. We're sticking with this
we've
class.
got a great group.
I am very grateful because group work stresses me out. So
Me too.
yes. So yep. Okay. Well, do we need to do anything else or are we good?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Sounds good.
Everyone have this done by, it's due at midnight. So maybe everyone have it done by like no later than 9.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I'm going to stop and I'm going to do this now and then I'll go to my next class because it'll confuse me if I go back and forth. So
Yes, I think I'm planning to do it. I've got to run. My friend just texted. I think I've got to run her daughter to school, and then I will do it as soon as I'm done with that, and that's what I'll do next. So
yeah.
I should have it done in at least the next hour.
I should have it done fairly quick. I'll send you a message on Slack when I'm done. So
Sounds good.
I
Yeah,
will
I'll
also.
just message on Slack
Okay.
and we'll know that we're done.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good. Okay.
all right.
Great. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.